Now, if I were to list down all the things that us Indians love, offer it in a compact package and make it at an aggressive price tag, then what I would get is something like this, the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso. Now, I've been driving it for about 200 kilometers to get a sense of what it has to offer. So let's take a closer look at whether this is a value for money offering or not.
Let's start with what would be perhaps one of the biggest attractions for this car, which are its looks. Firstly, I have to say that it looks better in flesh than it looks in pictures. And as looks are a subjective matter, for us, it has all the elements that is needed to give it the SUV look. This includes a small grille, giving the impression of a large front area, and the lower half of the bumper has been blacked out to make it look a bit raised in terms of height. You also get the squarish headlamps, a high-rise flat bonnet, and a sharply raked A-pillar, all of which give the car an upright stance. It is important to note, however, that the chrome elements that you see on the grille as well as the LED DRLs on our test unit, both of them are offered as accessories and not as standard. The only other accessory that our car had was the blacked out spoiler at the back. Speaking of which, the rear end design is rather simple with smart looking tail lamps and the rear bumper getting the split color treatment as well. On the sides you have the B pillar which has been blacked out and it gets huge squared off wheel arches to add some muscle. So yes, it does get the SUV elements, but how all of that comes together ends up giving the car a bit of an odd stance. My guess is that it is due to the wheels that it has, which despite being 14 inches on this top spec model, end up looking too small inside those humongous wheel arches. And the fact that you can see through inside the wheel well, it's not a pretty sight at all. Same goes for the back, as the tires end up looking skinny underneath all that body cladding. So while it depends on you whether you will like this styling or not, what I can tell you that you would like for sure is the advantages that all of this SUV styling brings with it.
Now, one of the biggest attractions of the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso is the fact that it offers a high seating position, and that is exactly the first thing that you will notice once you enter the car. Because since the seats are a lot higher up, getting in and out of the car is a lot more easier. Once you're on the seat though, you don't have an instrument cluster blocking your view up front, and these large glass panels and the high seating position, all of it combined to give you that SUV feel.
And once you step in, you will be greeted by a brand new interior design from Maruti Suzuki that actually looks pretty fantastic. The biggest attraction here is the circular design around the touchscreen infotainment system that is very Mini Cooper-like. It houses the instrument cluster as well, which includes a digital speed readout that makes it easy to read while you are driving the car. The cluster also houses all the telltale signs along with the gear shift indicator, which is a nice touch. Coming to the touchscreen infotainment system, it is one of the best in the segment with good touch response and also has support for aux, USB, Bluetooth connectivity, Android Auto as well as Apple CarPlay. And the multimedia experience gets even better thanks to the steering mounted controls, which also gives access to voice commands. So, full marks in terms of equipment to the S-Presso. You also get plenty of compartment spaces throughout the cabin, and the power window controls have been placed higher up, which is great. And we were impressed with the quality of plastics used on the dash, which feels premium. There are bottle holders only on the front doors, and the rear passengers instead get a center placed bottle holder for themselves. The boot space is decent too, but what the S-Presso makes up with is the amount of space that it offers.
Now, the first thought that came into my mind the moment I sat here at the back was wow, because of the amount of space that I have. The driving position has been set according to my height, and for reference I'm 5'10", and you can see I still have a huge amount of knee room and leg room as well. The under thigh support is not that great, but it'll do the job. The shoulder room is good, the head room is great, and if you want to have 3 people sitting over here, it's going to be a bit of a squeeze, but you can do that as well.
Now let's talk about the driving experience. The Maruti Suzuki S-Presso is powered by a 998cc engine that makes about 67 horsepower and 90 Newton meters of torque. And I have to say, this engine is just so good that I absolutely loved it. Yes, it is a bit audible inside the cabin, but that's about the only nitpick I can do with it, because otherwise it leaves absolutely nothing to complain. It is smooth and has great levels of refinement, and the power delivery is linear and progressive. You can lug the engine around in the city traffic a gear higher if you want, and it feels comfortable doing triple-digit speeds as well. As for the transmission options, there's a choice of a 5-speed manual and a 5-speed AMT gearbox.
When it comes to the drivetrain, then one of the key things that stands out is the refinement. That K-Series engine has been one of the smoothest engines in its lot, and it still continues to power the S-Presso. In this case as well, it's very refined, and the variant that we're driving comes with an AGS transmission right now, and this one is refined as well. If you give it the berries, then it does take a moment to select the gear that it wants to go into, but if you drive it with the light foot, you won't have anything to complain.
A big reason as to why the car feels so peppy is down to the new platform that it uses that allows the car to be lightweight. We drove the car mostly on smooth highways, so we will wait to see how it performs when it combats everyday potholes in our full road test. First impressions, however, are good. What you need to keep in mind though is that while it offers a high seating position, the seat height is not adjustable. As a result, taller people will find that the roof does intervene in their field of vision. It did a bit for me, and when I put the sun visor down, I couldn't see absolutely anything out at the front. But then again, given the price tag that it comes with, it does offer plenty bang for your buck and comes with features and design that does justify the price tag to an extent. Also, this is your best bet at getting as close to a bigger SUV feel in a budget as it can get. And if that's what you're looking for, you will love the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso.
So to sum up my thoughts about the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso. Now there are some things that I could nitpick, but given the price tag that all of this is coming at, this is a really good value for money car. As far as I've gathered, the design is a little bit polarizing. Some of the people aren't very sure about it, while many of them absolutely love the concept of having a small SUV in a budget. And if you're one of them, then this is absolutely a good choice to go for.